A Vegas insider just leaked the real reason sportsbooks make 70% of their annual profits on a single Sunday in February, and it has nothing to do with which team wins. The strategies they're using to drain your bankroll during the Super Bowl are so effective that one bettor lost his entire $45,000 savings in just 4 quarters without even realizing what was happening. But here's what nobody tells you. What if the bets you think are safe are actually the ones designed to take your money the fastest? Mike thought he had it figured out. Every Super Bowl Sunday for 3 years, he'd set aside $2,500 from his paycheck and head to the sportsbook with a plan. He wasn't some reckless gambler throwing money at random bets. He researched stats, watched analyst breakdowns, and only bet on things that seemed like sure things. Smart money, he called it. But after 3 years, Mike had lost $8,000. Not because he was unlucky, because he didn't know what you're about to learn right now. The sportsbooks have a system. They've spent millions of dollars studying exactly how people like Mike think on Super Bowl Sunday. They know which bets look attractive. They know which bets feel safe. And they've designed everything about the Super Bowl betting experience to make you pick the options that drain your wallet the fastest. Former bookmakers who've worked the biggest Super Bowl events in Vegas have come forward with information that could save you thousands, and the patterns they're revealing are disturbing. Here's what most people don't understand. On Super Bowl Sunday, sportsbooks make more money in one day than they make in an entire month of regular season games. We're talking about billions of dollars flowing through betting windows and apps in just a few hours. But here's the thing that'll shock you. According to insider data, about 87% of people who bet on the Super Bowl walk away with less money than they started with. That's not a coincidence. That's by design. The first mistake happened during Super Bowl 52. He bet $500 on the Patriots to win because they had Tom Brady and everyone said they couldn't lose. He also dropped $300 on a parlay that seemed obvious. Gronkowski to score a touchdown, over 50 total points, and the Patriots to cover the spread. The odds were plus 800. That means if he won, he'd collect $2,400 on a $300 bet. It felt like free money. The Patriots lost to the Eagles. The parlay died in the first quarter when the game stayed low scoring. Mike walked out that night down $800, telling himself he'd made bad picks. But the real problem wasn't his picks. It was that he'd fallen for exactly the type of bets that sportsbooks want you to make. Year 2, Mike tried to be smarter. He avoided team bets and focused on prop bets instead. How long would the national anthem last? What color Gatorade would get dumped on the winning coach? Whether the coin toss would be heads or tails. These felt safer somehow. Less serious. More fun. He spread 1,200 across 15 different prop bets, thinking that if he won even half of them, he'd come out ahead. He won 3, lost 12, walked away down $900. And the worst part is he never saw it coming. Those prop bets looked innocent. They felt like entertainment. But according to former bookmakers, prop bets have some of the worst odds you can find on Super Bowl Sunday. And Mike had no idea. Let's talk about the first bet you need to avoid, and it's the one that looks the most fun. Prop bets are absolutely everywhere on Super Bowl Sunday. You'll see hundreds of them. How many passing yards will the quarterback throw? Will there be a safety? Will anyone miss a field goal? Former Vegas bookmakers report that prop bets typically carry a house edge between 15% and 30%. That's insane. For comparison, betting on the actual game winner usually has a house edge around 4% to 5%. So why do people love prop bets so much? Because they feel harmless. They feel like you're just adding a little extra excitement to the game. But here's what the data shows. Players who focus on prop bets lose an average of 60% more money than players who stick to traditional bets. One documented case involves a woman who placed $2,000 across 25 different prop bets during Super Bowl 53. She won 8 of them, lost 17, ended the night down $1,400. The sportsbook knew exactly what they were doing when they offered those bets. They'd calculated the odds to guarantee profit no matter what happened. Mistake number 2 is a parlay, when you combine multiple bets into one ticket, and all of them have to hit for you to win. The appeal is obvious. You risk a little to win a lot. Bet $100 to win $1,500. Sounds great until you understand the math. Former bookmakers explain that parlays are where sportsbooks make their easiest money. Here's why. Let's say you make a 3-leg parlay. Bet on the Chiefs to win, over 52 total points, and Mahomes to throw 3 touchdowns. Each individual bet might have a 50% chance of hitting, but you need all 3 to hit. The actual probability of winning that parlay is about 12.5%. Meanwhile, the sportsbook is paying you like the odds are closer to 20%. They're pocketing the difference. Industry insiders estimate that parlays have a house edge anywhere from 20% to 40%, depending on how many legs you include. One case study from a former bookmaker documented a man who placed a 7-leg parlay for $500 on Super Bowl 54. He needed 7 specific things to happen. 6 of them hit. The 7th missed by 1 point. He lost everything. That story plays out thousands of times every Super Bowl Sunday, and the sportsbooks count on it. But here's where it gets really dangerous. Mistake number 3 is live in-game betting, and this is the trap that catches even experienced bettors. Modern sportsbooks have apps that let you bet on everything in real time as the game happens. Will the next play be a run or pass? Will this drive end in a touchdown? The odds update, constantly based on algorithms that process data faster than any human can think. Former bookmakers reveal that live betting algorithms are designed to always stay one step ahead of you. By the time you see the odds and place your bet, the algorithm has already adjusted for new information you haven't processed yet. One documented case involves a man who placed 47 different live bets during Super Bowl 55. He won 19 of them, lost 28, ended the night down $3,200. The constant action made him feel like he was in control, but the algorithm was controlling him the entire time. Former bookmakers call this the real-time trap. You're making emotional decisions while the sportsbook is making calculated mathematical adjustments every second. Mistake number 4 is something almost everyone does without thinking. Betting on your favorite team. It seems harmless. You want your team to win anyway, so why not make some money on it? But former bookmakers explain that emotional betting is exactly what they want. When you bet on your team, you're not thinking clearly about the actual odds. You're thinking with your heart. One study from industry insiders found that bettors who wager on their favorite team lose 34% more often than bettors who stay neutral. The emotional attachment clouds judgment. A documented case involved a lifelong Cowboys fan who bet $5,000 on Dallas to win Super Bowl 30. He didn't care that they were underdogs. He didn't care what the stats said. He just believed. Dallas lost. He lost $5,000, and the sportsbook had counted on that emotional decision from thousands of fans just like him. Mistake number 5 is the most dangerous behavior pattern that happens during the game itself. Chasing losses. Here's how it works. You place a bet before kickoff, and it loses. You're down $200. So you place another bet during the first quarter to win back that $200. It loses. Now, you're down $400. So you bet $400 on the second quarter trying to get even. Former bookmakers describe this as the death spiral. They've watched it happen to thousands of people every Super Bowl. The emotional need to get back to even overrides rational thinking. One heartbreaking case that insiders documented involved a teacher named James who started Super Bowl 49 with a $300 budget. His first bet lost. Then he started chasing. By halftime, he'd lost $200. By the end of the game, he'd drained his checking account of $4,800, trying to win back his original $300. The sportsbooks see this pattern constantly. They even have internal terminology for it. They call players like James tilters because they tilt off their entire bankroll in one emotional session. Mistake number 6 targets casual bettors who think they're just having fun. Exotic prop bets about commercials, halftime shows, and celebrity appearances. Will Rihanna wear red during the halftime show? Which commercial will air first in the second quarter? Former bookmakers reveal these bets have the worst odds on the entire board. House edges often exceed 40%. Why? Because there's no real data to base the odds on. The sportsbook just picks numbers that sound fun and builds in massive profit margins. One documented incident involved a Super Bowl party where friends pooled $1,000 to bet on 20 different commercial and celebrity props. They won 2 bets, lost 18. The sportsbook kept $880 of their $1,000. Those friends thought they were just adding entertainment to the party. They had no idea they were handing their money away. Mistake number 7 is about timing, and it costs people more than they realize. Futures bets placed on game day. A futures bet is when you wager on something that will be decided later, like who will win next year's Super Bowl. Sportsbooks heavily promote these bets during the current Super Bowl because they know people are excited and not thinking clearly. Former bookmakers explain that futures bets placed on Super Bowl Sunday have the worst value of any time during the year. Why? Because the sportsbook knows you're caught up in the emotion of the day. They inflate the juice and reduce the odds because they know you'll bet anyway. One case study documented a man who bet $2,000 on the Bills to win the next Super Bowl at plus 700 odds. 3 weeks later, those same odds were plus 1,200 at other sportsbooks. He'd locked in terrible value because he bet at the worst possible moment. Industry insiders estimate that futures bets placed on Super Bowl Sunday return 25% to 30% less value than the same bets placed during the offseason. Now we get to mistake number 8, and this is the one that former bookmakers say should be illegal but isn't. Betting under the influence. Super Bowl Sunday is a party. People are drinking, having fun, and the sportsbooks know this. Former insiders reveal that sportsbooks make significantly more money during events where alcohol consumption is high. Why? Because alcohol impairs judgment and increases impulsive decisions. One study tracked betting patterns and found that the average bet size increases by 40% after the bettor has been drinking for 2 hours. Decision quality drops by 60%. One devastating case involved a man who'd had 6 beers by halftime and decided to bet his entire savings of $12,000 on a live in-game parlay. He was convinced it couldn't lose. It lost in 8 minutes. His wife found out 2 days later when their mortgage payment bounced. The sportsbooks don't discourage drinking. They encourage it because they know impaired bettors make bigger, dumber bets. The final, mistake number 9, is the one that destroyed the life we mentioned at the beginning. Not setting limits. Former bookmakers explain that the bettors who lose the most are the ones who never decided in advance how much they were willing to lose. There's always one more bet, one more chance to get even, one more opportunity that seems too good to pass up. The compounding effect is brutal. A documented case from Super Bowl 51 involved a man named Robert who started the day with a $1,000 limit. By the fourth quarter, he'd convinced himself to go to the ATM 4 times, each time telling himself this would be the last time. By the end of the night, he'd lost $8,500. 3 months later, his car got repossessed. 6 months later, he lost his apartment. All because he didn't have a hard limit that he actually followed. Former bookmakers report that players without set limits lose an average of 6 times more than players who stick to predetermined budgets. The sportsbooks count on you breaking your own rules. So now, you know the 9 mistakes that destroy bankrolls every Super Bowl Sunday. Subscribe for more betting secrets, and let me know in the comments, what's the biggest bet you've ever placed on the Super Bowl?